Hey YouTube, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen, where I eat to live and not live to eat. Today I'm going to be making a vegan shepherd's pie. So if you're interested in seeing how I create this vegan shepherd's pie, stay tuned and I'll show you. Alright fam, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen. So again, today we are doing a vegan shepherd's pie. So what we're going to need to make our dish today, we have some chopped celery, some chopped carrots, onions, and mushrooms. And I have 2 cups of each already chopped up. We're going to use lentils for our meat replacement today. Now, if you don't have lentils or you're not a lentil fan, you can use the Bouillon meat burger, the meat to make your ground beef as well. We're going to need some broth, but I'm using the Better Than Bouillon. This is the vegetable-based one. I'm going to be using a little bit of fresh garlic, some Italian seasoning, some smoked paprika, and I will be adding some other seasonings. I just don't have them out here, and a little bit of fresh rosemary. Also, we need potatoes. I've already got my potatoes on. I got 3 pounds of russet potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and get those cooking so I can get those mashed down, because that's what we're going to top our shepherd's pie with. So what we're going to do, we're going to come over here to the stove. We're going to start to get our base together for our shepherd's pie. So come on over. All right, so I have some grapeseed oil here in my cast iron pot. About maybe 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm just going to give my veggies a good saute. Then that was 2 cups of carrots, 2 cups of chopped celery, onions, and mushrooms. And so, I'll get this down in here. And you can cut your mushrooms down smaller. I like the bigger chunks of mushrooms in my food. I just like to taste them. You don't like your carrots or your celery that big either, you can chop them down smaller. But I just like a little more hearty substance to it. And then I had some fresh rosemary, just about a pinch. Wasn't a lot. I just took a couple stems off and cut them down with my scissors, my kitchen scissors. I'm going to put a little garlic in here. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of minced garlic. And then, excuse me, I'm going to use my smoked paprika. I love my smoked paprika. Y'all know I always say that I love my smoked paprika. So I may wipe this off because I do want my teaspoon one. I don't want to get it wet. Okay. That's 1. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of my smoked paprika, only because I love smoked paprika. I love that smoky flavor that it gives your food. Then we're going to put some garlic in here. Oh, I already got my garlic. Sorry. I use fresh garlic, so I don't need that one. My black pepper. I'm going to put a 1/2 teaspoon. Black pepper, and then I'm going to use my Mrs. Dash. This is what I'm going to season with too. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of my Mrs. Dash. This is just the garlic and herb one. So you are getting just a little bit more of the garlic flavor in there, which I love garlic. And we're going to use a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning, just to give it a little bit more of that earthy to go along with that fresh rosemary. And we're going to see how these pair. And I'm not going to put any salt in here, only because I'm using the Better Than Bouillon. So that's more than enough sodium that you're going to need. So that's why I try to season with other seasonings other than salt, because that Better Than Bouillon is going to definitely give us the sodium to kick up the flavor. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're just going to let this cook down for about 5 minutes or so. We don't want to overcook it, because it's still going to continue to cook when we put in our washed lentils. So we're gonna let our lentils cook, and lentils are really quick. They're really quick to cook. So about 30 minutes of good boil and simmer, they'll be tender enough to go into the oven. So, but we're just gonna let this cook for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and get our lentils in here. I have my potatoes cooking over here. They're almost done. And then once we get our potatoes done, we'll go ahead and show you how to get those mashed up. I did have a video out there on mashed potatoes, which is real similar to how we're gonna make them today. So this is a real quick and easy dish that's comforting that you can make. So the shepherd's pie. So this is all we're gonna do for now. We'll get our broth and everything in there momentarily when we start to put our lentils in here. But I'll come right back and show you the next steps. Okay, so this is cooked. You see it's still got a lot of texture. It's cooked for about 5 minutes. I have my rinsed lentils. I'm gonna go ahead and get my lentils down in here. And then I'm just gonna stir in my lentils. Get those down in here. And now I'm going to put in my Better Than Bouillon broth. So that's 1 tablespoon. Almost 2 whole tablespoons if I can get this out. 2. Okay. All right. Get off my finger here. All right, so we're just gonna get this mixed in here real good. And when I add my water, I'll make sure 2 is enough. Now I may have to add 1 more because I want it to be really good and rich and flavorful. So, okay, we want that flavor definitely in there. And I do like the vegetable-based one. I like the chicken. I like them all, to be honest with you. But I think the vegetable-based one would work really well for this dish. So now we want to get our liquid in here, and basically we want enough liquid just to cover our lentils, so that way it gives them an opportunity to cook. Okay, and then this is where you're going to want to taste your broth. You're going to want to taste your broth just to make sure it's good, but I think I'm going to add one more of these down in mine to give it that richness I'm looking for. Okay, so that was 3 tablespoons of the broth. And if you have other broth that you use, that's fine. You may not have this broth. You can just add your own sodium to that. So we're not going to want this to be soupy. We're going to want this to be kind of rich and kind of thick, like a stew instead of a soup. So we're going to put a bit of cornstarch in there. And what the cornstarch is going to do, the cornstarch is going to allow it to thicken up. So I wanted to use a tablespoon of cornstarch. Let me just dry my little thing out so I don't get my cornstarch wet. I'm going to get a scoop of cornstarch. Get down in there. Just stir it in. It'll allow it to thicken. And if you like yours thicker, if I see that it's not as thick as I want it to be, I'll just add a little bit more. But we're going to give it an opportunity to boil. This is going to allow our lentils to thicken up and cook too. So you want to keep mine is on between medium, it's medium high. So I'm just going to let this go to a good boil. And then once it boils for about 10 minutes, I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer. I don't want to boil out everything. So we want to get our lid on there and just keep an eye on it. So I'm going to let this boil for about 10-15 minutes. And then I'll come back and turn it down and just let it simmer. I'll taste it and make sure the flavor profile is there. But that's all we're gonna do at this moment for our base. Okay, so this is the rolling boil that I was talking about. Once you start coming to this boil, we're gonna let it now it's boiled for about 5 to 6 minutes. Now I'm gonna turn it down and I'm just gonna let it cook because lentils don't take that long to get tender. I turned it down and now I'm gonna let it just kind of simmer a little bit for another 30 minutes or so. So then once it simmers, I'll come back and we'll go through adding the rest of the ingredients. All right, so our potatoes are ready. They've been drained. So now we're gonna go ahead and get these mashed up really well. And what I'm doing to my potatoes, of course, I'm putting some butter in. I'm using the Earth Balance soy-free vegan butter. So I'm gonna get a nice little scoop of butter down in here. And everybody makes their potatoes differently, and that's okay because you can be creative. I'm using a little bit of cream cheese in my potatoes. I got the vegan Follow Your Heart dairy-free cream cheese. I'm just going to use a little bit of cream cheese in here just to kind of doctor them up a little bit. Just a couple of scoops of cream cheese. And then also what's going down in my potatoes, we're going to do just a sprinkle of garlic powder. Just a little sprinkle there. We're going to do a sprinkle of salt, seasoned to your own liking, of course. A little salt, a little pepper. I don't know why I do that pepper like that every time. Okay, and then we're just going to get to mashing. You can use a mixer if you have it. I have one, but I prefer to use this potato masher here. Oh, excuse me. And we're just going to get all this kind of mixed down in here. We're going to get our potatoes good and creamy. Just want to get all my, before I add my milk, I like to make sure my butters and everything are in there good because I don't like to make them too loose. Then that's going to be a problem. So that's why I add my milk last, so I don't add too much liquid. Let me go back to using my spoon for a second here just to get all my butter and everything down in here good. And just taste these a little bit. Yeah, but I'm gonna do a little bit more butter in here. And a little bit more cream cheese. Because I want to have that cream cheese flavor down in here. So that was probably half of this tub. The tub of cream cheese, I think, is 8 ounces. 8 ounces, so half of that. So I put about 4 ounces of cream cheese. And all we do is just get these whipped up. This is what's going to top our shepherd's pie. And now we're going to put just a little bit of milk in here to cream them up. I'm using some almond milk. And it's just going to be the original, unsweetened original. And, you know, like I said, I'm just putting a little bit in. That was maybe 1/4 a cup. I don't want them too loose. So that's why I'm not putting that much milk in these. I don't want them too loose. And plus my potatoes are already kind of soft. I cooked them really long to soften them up. Okay. So basically that's all you do on your potatoes. Just get them mixed in. Make sure all your butter and your cream cheese is mixed in really well. And we're going to take and put this to the side. And this is what we're going to top our shepherd's pie with. Like I said, taste them as you go. They need more flavor. Add more seasonings to it. Because you definitely want to make sure your seasonings are in there. Let me just see what these taste like. Actually tastes pretty good. I like that cream cheese and that butter in there. So I think this is perfect. So that's all we're going to do with the potatoes. And I'll be back to finish up the base. All right, so we are about ready to start mixing this together. The one final ingredient that I did not mention in the beginning was our peas. So we usually put our peas in last, and your tomato paste. If you have tomato paste, that's fine. I don't have any tomato paste, but I have a hearty tomato sauce that I'm going to be using to kind of add to my base. So I'm just using some Simple Truth organic frozen peas. I'm just going to give them a nice little rinse here. Just rinse some of the ice off of them. And we're going to mix this in our base. I know you guys probably want to see the consistency of my base, so come on over here. I want to bring you up a little bit closer so you can see down in the pot. All right, because you can already see how nice and hearty this looks with the carrots, the mushrooms, the celery, and the beans. So now we're just going to put our peas in. And you can also add corn in here. I didn't have any corn, so I was okay with that. Sometimes it's hard to find non-GMO corn, so I try to avoid it if I don't find it as a non-GMO version. And then we're going to add a couple of scoops of our tomatoes. Usually they use a couple of a tablespoon or so of tomato paste. Like I said, this is a nice hearty tomato sauce that I have here. Just going to get that mixed in there. This has so much flavor already with the broth that I used. And so this is what we want. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to line our dish with the base. So use a glass dish or just a dish that you can use. You want it thick enough to where you can put your mixture on the bottom as well as your potatoes on top. I may not put all of this in here because this did make a lot more than probably what I need for today. But you just want to get this down in here. So I'm going to kind of scoop. And I'll move out of the way so you guys can see here in just a second. This is going to be so good. So you just want to get that down in there. Maybe just a little bit more. I just didn't want to use a bigger pot or bigger dish because whatever I don't use, I'll freeze the rest of this for another day because it'll be good just throw it in the freezer. But this right here is plenty. And then the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to add our, we're going to add our potatoes on here. And these are just the potatoes that we've already whipped up. So all you want to do is just kind of scoop your potatoes on. Again, this was a 3-pound bag of potatoes, but you want that nice thick layer of potato on top. So let me just get all these out of here and then we'll get it in here. Actually, I'll use my spatula for the rest of this. And while you're doing this, you want to have your oven on. My oven is set to 400. And we're going to get this in the oven and we're going to let this cook in the oven for about 20 minutes. Till your potatoes kind of get a nice little brown on top. I want all my potatoes out of there. Okay. So then all you want to do is use a spatula just to kind of whip those around. I said I could have used a little bit smaller dish. But this is okay. I was thinking about doing a smaller dish just to make the potatoes a little bit more thick on there. But it's okay. Just kind of get those scooped over. You really want to try to layer the whole thing, but at this point, this is going to be just fine. Kind of scoop a little bit of these up here. I was going to use my glass pie dish for this portion, and just not put as much of the base. But this is fine. Just kind of. And then, like I said, we just want to cook this to get our potatoes to brown. And then you can just kind of. Okay, give it a little peaks. All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this in the oven. Again, for about 20 minutes or so. My oven's on 400, so I'm definitely gonna watch it. Just get it in the oven, and if it doesn't require 20 minutes, take it out. We just want to basically give our potatoes an opportunity to brown. And if you have some garnish, like some parsley or some what am I thinking of? Chives, you can sprinkle on top. I don't have any. That'll make for a nice top as well. Let's get over there. Okay, so we're just gonna get this in the oven. I'm just trying to put some little indents in it so it'll breathe. Okay, we're gonna get this in the oven and let it cook for about 20 minutes, and I'll be back. All right, guys, so our shepherd's pie is ready. It baked on the 400 for 20 minutes. It was slightly browned, but not as brown as I wanted my little peaks to be. So I put it on broil for another 5 minutes. Make sure if you use your broil setting, you stay by the oven because it can overcook depending on your oven. So mine looks amazing. It is all that I thought it would be. And so I wanted you guys to see it a little up close. Maybe we can bring it in to give you guys a close up here. So wait a minute. Pause the camera, bring them up close so they can see it. All right, so here's a little bit of a close up. You see all that nice brown, crunchy potato? It's when I make like potato cakes, that's how I like that look to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to cut into this. It's still warm. We're gonna cut into this and get some on our plate here. Oh my gosh, yes, look at that. You can see it's still real warm, but we wanna get all of our little substance on our plate. And you guys can see down in here, we got plenty of potato, plenty of the substance there. And so this is our vegan shepherd's pie. So we're gonna do our taste test. So I'll let you guys see what it tastes like. So, all right, guys. So here we are for our taste test. I'm excited about the shepherd's pie today because it actually turned out really good. And I love the base broth, the base of it, the taste, the inside of it. It tastes so good. But again, it's my cooking. I'm gonna say that, believe it or not. But if it wasn't good, I would tell you guys too. I'll be honest. But I think it's delicious. I can't wait to get into this today. But you know, we're gonna have our one and only Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Can I have your assistance, please?
Yes, you may. My favorite time again.
Well, come on over here, sir. So what we got today is our vegan shepherd's pie. Okay. And I know you were trying to tell me to use the Beyond meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know he's a texture guy. He loves meat.
Yeah.
And I said I didn't want to do the Beyond meat. I wanted to use the lentils.
Right.
Because I thought it was going to be great with the mushrooms and all.
Right.
So I want you to see what it tastes like.
Okay. And
let our audience know if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down for you. Because you know your taste buds, hold on, you got some little stuff on there. Because you know, sometimes your palate is different than my palate. Yes. We got different taste palettes. And his palate.
I'll tell y'all the truth though, y'all.
But he gonna tell you the truth. And y'all know he gonna tell you the truth. So, but anywho, let's see what you think. Because you know, I've been tasting it a little bit. It's still warm. Mashed potatoes. Going in for bite number 2, y'all.
Y'all.
He went in for bite number 3. Hey.
Let me tell y'all something. I never had shepherd pie before, but I'm gonna tell y'all something. Good God Almighty. It's really good. This is really good. It's almost like a pot pie, the way that she made it. It's like the vegetables and the carrots, the peas, the celery, the onions and stuff, the mushrooms and stuff that's in there. You know, it tastes like a beef pot pie sort of kind. And it, believe it or not, it does have like a meat texture to it. I'm really surprised, y'all. Another great job right here. I mean, I can really eat this. This is really good.
It's good.
Job well done once again, my love.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So guys, here it is for my vegan shepherd's pie with the little
really
twist in the potatoes. You know, everybody's got their own variation of the shepherd's pie. This is straight from Cassandra's kitchen. And so let me just get a little taste of this in here.
I want that taste too. It's really good, y'all. You won't be disappointed. Won't be disappointed.
The mashed potatoes, that flavor in the potatoes.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. TheBomb.com.
You talking about a comfort?
Yes.
And the flavor profile? It's there, y'all. It's good.
It's something like that. Potatoes being on top of there with that little, you know, you got a little crust on there like that. Something like a pot pie, I mean.
Without the crust.
Without the crust.
But it's good.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely amazing, y'all. You won't be disappointed.
So guys, you heard it from him.
Yes.
But if you try it and you like it, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And of course, share the video.
Yes.
Share it with your vegan friends. And I always say your non-vegan friends
Yes.
as well. And if you haven't already subscribed to Cassandra's Kitchen, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you follow me here in Cassandra's Kitchen. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. Be blessed. I love you guys. Bye-bye now.